Paddington in Peru was released in 2024. This is directed by Dougal Wilson. It's written by Mark Burton, John Foster, and James Lamont. And we have an amazing cast, including Hugh Bonneville, Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters, Jim Broadbent, Olivia Colman, Ben Whishaw as the voice of Paddington, Imelda Staunton as the voice of Aunt Lucy. Really, really great cast. Unfortunately, I found the narrative to be really, really boring. Paddington returns to Peru, as the title suggests. He wants to visit his Aunt Lucy, and the Brown family come along, of course, and there are adventures to be had. And I found the adventures to be incredibly dull. The story just didn't appeal to me. I guess it's reasonably well written in the sense that everything within the narrative makes enough sense. It felt believable enough within the context of the story, but I just didn't find it interesting. It wasn't fun. It wasn't adorable. It basically didn't have many of the elements from the other Paddingtons. And that meant that the reason I wanted to watch it wasn't really there. The other main reason why I wanted to watch it, apart from the cuteness and the comedy, is the cast. The cast is as brilliant as the previous films, so at the very least it manages to retain that. And I guess visually it's appealing. We have bright lighting and there's always a lot going on. There's always something to look at. Paddington looks brilliant. So yeah, that works as well. But the story just, for me, wasn't very interesting. It feels very different to the previous films. And on the one hand, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because with the third film, they probably should try and do something a little bit different. I assume that that's what their thinking was. But for me, it's so different that it doesn't retain the aspects of the previous films that I really, really like. So on the one hand, that's a personal preference thing, but on the other, I think maybe I don't know what they should have done differently, but for me, it doesn't work as a Paddington story. It just was nowhere near as fun or as funny as the previous ones. The characters, yes, still great cast still, visually a very beautiful film, but I didn't really enjoy it very much. I wouldn't say I hated it, and if you are curious to see what it's like, then by all means check it out. It is definitely a watchable film, but for me it's absolutely a one-time watch, whereas the previous Paddingtons, I'd quite happily watch again. I'd quite happily see them. In fact, I might at some point soon, because I rather enjoyed those, and this one just wasn't great. It was fine, it was average, whereas the previous Paddingtons are way above average. Paddington in Peru, I guess, is an okay film, but it definitely did not meet my expectations.